Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another session of this getting us started on this Global Hack Week on AI and machine learning. I would say this is one of our most popular weeks because it's usually where hackers are more interested in. AI, LLMs, everything that's related to machine learning and training models. That's what we're going to be seeing through the course of the week and also the weekend as well. So it's nice to be getting started. You will actually be seeing a lot of me during this Global Hack Week because I have about, I think, 5 streams and some mini events as well. So you will be definitely seeing my face a lot. If you already know me, then it's nice to have you back. And if you're just getting to know me, I will start to introduce myself in just a second. I sent out an important link on the chat, which is our check-in link. Make sure that you checking onto this stream in order for you to get your points for the day, and also um, if you start claiming points, then you can reach a point where you get earn basic swag. There's more guidelines on that. But just to make sure that you do so, because it's part of the whole Global Hack Week team, and it's also fun to start collecting points. I believe that after each day that you complete, you get like an email saying how many points you collected for the day, which I think is really nice. I remember I used to join Global Hack Weeks when I was part from the hacker community. I mean, I'm still part of the hacker community. The only difference is that now I'm coaching and I'm on the other side, but it's still fun to see how hackers interact. So for today, we'll be having a one-time stream, which means that it's only one part. So we will be finishing all of our content today. Let me start adding this in here so I can start introducing myself and also showing you the schedule for today. I know it might be a bit late if you are especially located in CST or ET or PST time zones. For me, it's 8 p.m. I mean, I would say it's a decent time. But I remember there were some times where I was giving streams at like 12 a.m. So that's definitely another thing to take into consideration. To introduce myself, if there's new hackers in the chat, my name is Jocelyn. I'm a coach here at Major League Hacking. I'm based in Mexico, but I'm currently based in the US because I'm doing a research internship. So I had to move for a couple of months, but I do my school and everything is back in Mexico. One of the things that I like to do in my free time, I like salsa dancing. I haven't been doing that very recently because I've been really busy, but I definitely enjoy it really much. And I collect Minecraft bee plushies and plushies that are about bees in general. I have one in my desk that I took with me. If you all know what jellycats are, this is a bee from Jellycat, which is it's really nice. I was actually trying to find her for a really really long time, and I was also really I was keeping myself posted on the Reddit forum. That's slash our Jellycat. So yeah, I would say it's mostly a collection thing, and now I have plenty of them, so it's really nice. It keeps me entertained. You can talk to me or ask me about mechanical keyboards, robotics, or neurotech. Actually, the research internship that I'm doing right now, it's related to neuroengineering. We are mostly measuring the intersynchrony between two brains when people are dancing, a specific dancing style from the West. So that's another topic. I've done a couple streams about neurotech. I would definitely be giving you more of that soon. But for these AI and ML Global Hack Week, I'll be doing mostly CS streams and AI streams. But yeah, just keep yourself posted on the next Global Hack Weeks. Sometimes I make these interesting drops where I start to, start to teach assembly or start to teach STM32 or FPGAs. So they get really fun. And yeah, I'm also a GitHub campus expert. So if you are trying to join the program, you can also ask me myself or also about the fellowship, the MLH fellowship. I'm seeing some highs in there in the chat. Hi there. I missed the previous one. That one was from Carrie. She was having some technical issues. She managed to solve them. And if you missed it, you can always watch the recordings on the YouTube channel from MLH. You can just look up Major League Hacking on YouTube and you should be able to see them. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm assuming you're referring to the research part because I saw your message pop up. And yeah, it's really interesting. I'm still studying, so I'm still in my third year of college, but I'm super decided that I want to do my PhD related to those fields. I will keep you posted on how that goes. I mean, I will continue streaming, so you will see my whole guideline, or like how my life continues. I don't know how to explain that. Oh, hi there. Nice to see you around here. That's interesting. And we have another hello over here. Great. So you can also follow MLH on Twitter, and I also dropped my Insta in there because I'm currently trying to make more content for the community. I would say I'm in my influencer era where I'm posting in Instagram and TikTok as well. I've just done a couple of reels, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So if you want to see my like my day-to-day life or like some of my content, you can feel free to follow me as well. Do we have GitHub Campus at Global Hack Week? That's an interesting question. I would say the way that I would place this question is that we have GitHub Campus experts that are coaches at Major League Hacking, but I wouldn't say that we have a GitHub Campus at Global Hack Week. We do work with GitHub. Sometimes we do streams in partnership with GitHub Education because we do have a workshop with them about GitHub Copilot, but I wouldn't say it's a GitHub campus. Not sure if that answers your question, but feel free to follow up on the chat. All right, so this is a schedule for today. We just have like 10 slides to go through, mostly understanding why benchmarking is important, metrics that we will be using for our benchmark today, understanding some technicals on LLMs, which is just mostly tokens, then different types of processing, and finally, we're going to be building the project using Streamlit, which we should be using about an hour to do that. My goal is that after this session, you will be able to have your own benchmarking dashboard to help you on the decision about which LLM you should use. I have to tell you up front that I won't be comparing many LLMs right now because that will be very time consuming. I'm just going to use two as an example, and then you can just continue the project and add as many LLMs as you want to. I'm also going to be sharing with you my GitHub repository. I'm going to be sharing the slides and the YouTube recordings on the same GitHub repo in case that you want to have everything all together. Also, remember that if you want to talk about anything or you have any random questions or you want to make like side conversations, always feel free to comment anything in the chat. I love to see side conversations going on in there. It makes me feel that I'm not just giving a workshop to a screen, that I'm actually interacting with people. So if you want to say something random or you just want to talk about something, feel free to drop your message on the chat, even if it's unrelated. All right, we have another question here. Are you seeing a YouTube chat? Of course, yes. I'm seeing a YouTube and Twitch chat. We have a really cool streaming platform, which is what I'm using right now. So yeah, any messages that you might have, even for the hackers that are at GitHub, at YouTube, I'm seeing them. Okay, so let's get started. As I mentioned, this is going to be super brief. I just want to set some clear bases before we actually go into the concepts. Because benchmarking is something, I would say it sounds really professional, um, but it's definitely a tool that maybe we do benchmarking in when we are making our hackathon projects, but we don't realize it or we don't want to do it at a professional level. And right now there's just many LLMs that we can use. There's just so many. They roll out almost weekly. There's always updates from these big companies that they do newer versions of the models, and they are always improving. And the dilemma that we have is that we are debating internally into which model to use. And of course, you can look up, I don't know, Gemini 2.5 versus Claude 3.5, and you will get different articles. But then it has happened to me that I look those online, and then if the report is about Gemini, then Gemini is gonna make themselves look nice. Or if the report is about Claude, then they're going to make themselves look really nice with their numbers, because every model is really good at its specific field. So depending on the numbers that you're using to measure those scores, it's how the model is going to end up being. And our goal here today is to make a simple tool to raise them side by side and find the best fit for our specific app. Now, I know there's other tools that do this at a professional level, and I'm actually going to show you a couple of those tools that exist where you can do all of these reports. But I would say, why not? I mean, it's fun to just build a project. I know there's tools that already exist on this, but it's nice to always build a project so you can understand all of the concepts and then try it yourself and actually have something done, or a project that you can show off as well. And yeah, so there's these leaderboards. I'm gonna be sharing actually those links. There's this one. The first one is from Hugging Face. I'm just gonna go in there and show you. And then the second one is AI leaderboards from another platform where you can actually get to test like the different LLMs side by side. Oh my god, my screen is too bright. Let me share these over there. And then I can also share my screen and we can go over this ones. I would say a blocker that I'm facing right now is that I only have one screen because I wouldn't take my monitor at the airport. So I will switch screens really often, like stop sharing and continue sharing, so I can see the chat continuously and keep up with all of the questions that you might have. So right now I'm gonna share my other window. Let me see, just give me a brief moment. I'm gonna share my other window with the Hugging Face metrics. I already shared that one in there, so you can definitely see it and visit in case that you want to. And now I'm just gonna share it so I can show you some cool things that you can do in there. And to be honest, I just found out about this one because I was literally looking it up online. Pretty sure you can see it. Nope, this one's not the correct one. There we go. Okay, so in this one, it's a general dashboard where it's mostly like a table. And it's hosted in Hugging Face, and it says artificial analysis LLM performance dashboard. There's a lot of models that you can look up to. Right now, the one that's all the way on the top is the Gemini 3 Pro preview. This one's really cool. I mean, if you are a student and you want to claim their free plan that they have for students, I would say just go ahead and do it. I claimed the education plan like months ago, and they offer 2 terabytes of cloud storage. They also offer really cool processing tools in cloud, and then you also get access to the pro models for making videos, images, and also content, which is really nice. And right now, if you see, it's the one that's all the way on the top, and they have different metrics in here that we're gonna get to in our slides as well. We get the cost of the tokens, which one is more expensive in comparison, the tokens that you spend, chunks, responses, reasoning time, and then you can see, further analysis in here. Let's say that I want to have, I want to rate this on cheapest one, and then you can see like those that are the easiest one to use, which in this case we are having Grok in here. It says that it's 11 per 1 million tokens. And yeah, you can see the different ones in here. It's in here you cannot interact with them. It's just mostly seeing a dashboard that it's updated almost daily. But it's also nice. And then for the second one, let me share you this second link. This one is for LLM stats. Let me go ahead and share this one. Let me open a new tab in here and just paste this. So in here, you're going to see a bit more variety. Let me make this a bit bigger. You're going to be seeing a bit more variety. And let me make this so you can see it better. There we go. Again, Gemini 3 Pro, it's basically just on the top of everything. Then we have Claude, and then we have GPT 5.2. I actually wasn't aware that GPT had launched a 0.2 model. I just stayed on the GPT 5, mainly because I stopped using GPT and now I use Gemini for everything now. It has never failed me. It's really cool. And I promise you, this is not paid promotion. It's not because MLH is partner officially with Gemini now, but it's just a really nice tool. They have different metrics that are, I would say, they're not very common. They have this thing called Code Arena, Chat Arena, and then this one that we're gonna get through in a second. Software developer bench, how much context you can give it, and then input and output as well, and then if they have a license or not. This tool is also really nice because you can go over here in arenas, and then you can go to the chat arena, and you basically you make a prompt, and then you get outputs of different LLMs, and then you get to rate them. So let's say I sent a message, and then I liked the response that Claude gave me in comparison to DeepSeek. So I give a thumbs up to Claude, and then that's how their scoring in the chat arena goes up. And for the coding arena, it's a bit different because the way that they grade this, or they get metrics, is that they have these LLMs solve open source GitHub issues from common libraries. And if they are able to solve those issues and make a pull request successfully, then they get points for the code arena. I would say it's really interesting, and it's actually nice seeing that Gemini is the one that has a highest score in the code arena, because it means that it is able to do like software developer job, being able to go into GitHub, search for an issue, solve that issue successfully, and then make a pull request that satisfies all of the requirements. To be honest, that's really impressive. I remember using all of these AI tools when I was when they first started to come up, and what they are now, it has just evolved much faster than what I have taught. But it's always nice to be informed. And while DeepSeek, it's there. But yeah, these are two really nice tools that you can use for visualizing stuff. Let me remove these over here. It came out a day ago. Oh, that's interesting. Then maybe that's why I haven't realized that they have these GPT 5.2 model. Because on Instagram, I follow these pages that usually publish content related to different model launching. So I usually up to date on those news, but maybe I didn't see the one about 5.2 as well. We have a comment in here. I usually use ChatGPT one time. I also try Gemini, but I think it forgets about the current chat sometimes. Like I was asking something, but it didn't give me the answer by analyzing previous chat. Oh, maybe you were using one of the light models. I used to use 2.5 model, but then when 3 Pro model came out, is the one that I use for everything. It has never let me down. I would say it's really nice. I've used it for many things like complex math, signal processing, robotics stuff, also mostly for reading papers and summarizing them. And it definitely gets the context. Like I have pinned chats on my dashboard that I use for specific things. Like for example, I was preparing for a MongoDB internship interview that it was very specific. It is about performance engineering and benchmarking. That is actually interesting because when I designed this stream, I didn't know about that internship in MongoDB. So it's funny how things end up. And I just trained the chat with all of the content that I could find about performance engineering in MongoDB and all of the information that was there on their site about their hiring manager, about the recruiters and everything. And it made me study really nice. Like it definitely worked for studying for those interviews. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I would say it depends mostly on the model that you were using. Then we have another question here. Do you need to pay for Tree Pro? Yes, that's something that you need to pay for. But if you're a student, you get to claim 1 year free if you're based in a specific countries, or 1 month free if you're on other regions. I know that in the US, you can get the 1 year free. I know that in Mexico, it's only 1 month, but I actually claimed it when it was 1 year worldwide, and now I get 1 year free. So that's really nice. Um, yep, it was 2.5. Maybe I will claim the student one soon. Yes, definitely go ahead and do so. It won't let you down. I also mostly use it for Google Photo storage, which is also really cool. Okay, let me continue sharing my screen. So yeah, some of the metrics that we just saw, let's just get into them. The first one it's the one that has a kind of weird name. That's graduate level Google Proof Q&A. So this one is, imagine if you're just basically placing a really hard multiple choice question test on the different LLMs. These questions are in different topics like physics, math, and all of the topics that you see at school. And you get like these standardized tests with multiple choice questions, and you get more points if you get answers correct. So that's basically how that metric works in there. And then for the second one, that's the software engineering benchmark. This one is the one that I already told you about, that the AI basically finds an issue on GitHub from an open source library and makes a successful pull request. And then the other one is the artificial analysis intelligence index. This one is mostly like how smart the AI is. I know it's a little vague, but that's how they measure that score. I would say I'm not very familiar with that one, but it's definitely in there. And then the other one is the omniscience index. This one is a bit interesting because it's basically how much world knowledge the model has. So if it's aware of what's going on like in the world, if it can speak about history or about social or stuff that's going on in the world, that's the omniscience index, and the higher it is, then the better of the score. Oh, another comment. Yes, 1 year free in my country also. Yeah, then that's super nice, and you get to claim it, and you basically can use it for a lot of stuff in there. All right, so these are some of the metrics. We're not going to be using these metrics today because they're really hard to actually make those tests. But it's also nice to see that you can learn about these different benchmarks that are out there and the different tools that you can also use to compare them. But yeah, and then we also have another question from Ale. Are there any multilingual benchmarks to see which model is best across multiple languages? To be honest, this will be a really nice benchmark. I have no clue. When we are coding, I will definitely look this up because it's something that will be interesting to know. I'm pretty sure they are. I mean, right now there's a lot of these companies that are trying to make money out of comparing different LLMs, like this one that I just show you. Um, so if they are making a benchmarking about how fast it is, how expensive it is, how good it is with external knowledge, I'm pretty sure there's one that can compare its functionality between multiple languages. But start thinking about how to design a test that can determine which one codes better in multiple languages. I think it's a bit extensive. I think it will be really hard to design those types of tests. Um, but yeah, if you ever find something up, feel free to drop it in the chat so we can view it as well. But as for my knowledge, I'm not really aware. I only know about the regular metrics that are used, but that one is a bit more specific. But I'm pretty sure there's something online. There has to be something. I mean, LLMs right now are basically our whole world, so there's got to be something in there. All right, so now about the metrics, and I just realized I made a spelling mistake in there, but I'll point that out when I get to it. All right, so about measuring performance. And there's different metrics that we are going to be seeing today, and these are the ones that we are going to be coding as well. So the first one is latency, and this one does not only apply to LLMs. Latency is basically how long does the user has to wait in order to get a response. It can be measured in operations per second or transactions per second. In this case, as we are talking about an LLM and getting an answer, then we're just going to measure it about how long it takes for the user to wait for a response. So let's say you input a prompt, and the time that you wait for a response is the latency that we're going to be getting. I'm pretty sure that you've heard this term in different things. Like latency is always that's going on in technology stuff. You can also talk about latency in servers. You can talk about latency in communication. You can talk about latency in hardware, and so on. And right now we will be talking about latency, but in LLMs. Okay. And then the second one is the one that's called true output. It's not throughput. I don't know why I wrote that. It's true output. I'm just gonna type it on the chat because now I feel awkward that it's wrongly in there. True out. Oh my god. True output. I think I need glasses for the computer because I'm seeing the chat a little bit blurry. True output. Okay, there it is. Hopefully that one's correct. Yeah, that one's correct. So I'm just gonna pin it in here. So for the second one, that's true output. This one is also a very common measuring metric, and it's just how fast is the LLM typing. Um, but I know that sounds very niche to LLMs only. True output, it's also everywhere. So if I were to describe true output more generally, I would say that is how many tasks, like how many instructions you can get done like faster. So in this case, for applied to LLMs, is how fast is the LLM typing? So how fast am I seeing a response in there? It's not the same as latency. It's very different. Just for you to keep that in mind, because latency, you can measure that in seconds, or transactions per second, or operations per second. And then for true output is different. Then the third one that we're gonna be seeing is cost. So this one is usually measured per 1 million tokens. So it's not only no, it's not only, it's like we were seeing on the different charts that it was measured always in 1 million. Why? Because it's something that you can measure, and it's kind of the standard in the industry. So they usually measure the total cost that you will have to pay for 1 million tokens that are generated. And then the last one is equality. This one, it can be subjective or objective depending on the task that we are giving it. So let's say that you ask your LLM to give an image of a cat. So of course there are different models, you will get different answers, and depending on what the user likes is the image that I'm gonna be liking. But then if you ask the LLM about a math problem or an operation or a physics problem or something that is factual, then you get to choose like a correct or a wrong answer. Not sure if I'm explaining myself clear, but you can have two types of qualities. You can have a subjective quality that's up to the user, up to their preferences, or you can also have an objective quality where it's only one answer that you're looking for, and it's only one answer that will be correct. Okay, so now that we saw these metrics, for today, we're going to be measuring latency, we're going to be measuring cost, and then we're also going to be measuring the time that it takes, so to output as well. For quality, we're not going to be measuring that because, again, that one is a bit harder to understand. So yeah. And then we're seeing a question in here. Can you clarify what tokens refers to requests generated by users? Yes, of course. We're actually gonna be diving on that on this second slide because I know that tokens can be something a bit blurry for some of the people in the audience. So tokens, or the concept of tokenization, is mostly to make you understand that LLMs do not read words, they read tokens. So all of the words that you are inputting into the LLMs, LLMs are not going to be interpreting those words. They're actually going to be interpreting tokens, which are just basically numbers. A token can be chunked into different parts. There are different chunking techniques. You can have a token that can be a whole word apple, part of a word like ing, or even just trailing space. There's this estimate that it's roughly calculated that 1,000 tokens equals about 700 words. And then what we actually pay for is for the count of the IDs. And I know this might be a bit blurry for you right now, like saying, oh, like how can we actually convert words into tokens, and then what are these IDs, and how can I measure how much I'm spending? And don't worry, I get you. I will be sending this other page. Let me see. There we go. And let me remove this one, share this one. So for this one, it's a tool from OpenAI where you can actually count how many tokens you're getting and how many characters you are typing. Oh, you can see show an example. And you can see the different models that you get to use. Like for example, GPT-4o or GPT-4 mini, GPT 3.5. They all have different techniques for chunking that you can see in here. And it says, for example, the text is many words mapped to one token, but some don't, indivisible. Unicode characters like emojis may be split into many tokens, blah, blah, blah. Sequences of characters commonly found next to each other may be grouped together like this. And then you can see how the LLM is actually like chunking everything. So this one is a chunk, this one is another chunk, this one is another one. So you have different tokens in here with the different colors. And then what it's actually explaining in here, it's that it's saying that the emojis, for example, they get to be chunked in a different manner. And then for sequences, then they also get to be chunked in different manners. This is very self-explanatory. And then you can have this rule that one token generally corresponds to 4 characters of text, 4 common English text. But it's only for certain texts. Actually, in our code, we're going to be using this rule, but just to make myself clear, this doesn't apply to everything. It applies to almost everything, roughly. So this is how they are making these comparison in here, that 100 tokens is 75 words approximately. And then how it actually works is that these texts get actually translated to token ID. So this is what the LLM is actually interpreting here. So there's this whole dilemma of testing LLMs and the tokenization tools that you can try on. That when you ask an LLM how many R's are in a strawberry, it might get it wrong because of its tokenization model that it's using. So that's just something random. It's just a fun fact that maybe no one wanted to hear, but I just know it. I don't know how I learned that. But it's a fun fact about LLMs that if you ask them how many R's are in strawberry, it might get confused. Not sure if the current LLMs that are super pro right now get it wrong because they get access, to a lot of databases that are trained day to day. So maybe now it gets it correct. But yeah, this is you can see the token IDs and the text how it is being chunked, which is really nice. We can try with a new one. You can try with, let's see, my name Jocelyn from, and it's doing all of the chunking here. Let's say, what if we do like just random text, just get it chunked in there. Let's see the tokens. Oh, there's plenty of them. 21 tokens, 43 characters. So 21 tokens is what I will be using to spend. When you enter an LLM, you usually see how much cents it cost for a specific amount of tokens. So this is a tool that you can use if you want to know how much money is it going to cost you to make a specific query. Okay, so let me go back to the slides. We're almost done on that. Then we also get a question in here. Are the tokens ID referred to vectors? Yes, you are completely right. I would definitely invite you to look more onto this. It's actually really cool math. I won't be getting into that myself today, but yes, you are going on the correct direction. I'm actually going to be giving a stream that's related to RAG systems, where we were going to be using a vector database, and I'm going to be explaining everything about embeddings and how they relate to tokens as well. So feel free to join. I think it's going to be tomorrow, about 12 p.m. No, 1 p.m. CST. But you can look it up on the schedule. It's the one about RAG systems, building your first RAG for recommendation systems. I think that's the name. Waiting for the rack one. Yeah, that one's interesting. Actually, I think last year I made a RAG tool that actually became a bit popular on GitHub. Among hackers, where I created a recommendation tool to get you a match, like a love match, because the stream was in Valentine's, so I wanted to go with the vibe of Valentine's, and I created this ragged recommendation system where different people filled out a form, and then you get paired with the person that you get a highest cosine similarity, depending on what you like. Um, I would say it was a really nerdy project, mostly for Valentine's. It's very creepy, maybe for some people, but it was really fun. I can also show the repository when I start sharing my GitHub screen. But yeah, maybe I will be doing something similar tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing my RAG stream about, but we'll see. I want to learn about RAG for a hackathon in my college. Oh, that's interesting. What's the hackathon name? And is it partnered with MLH as well? But yeah, if you want to learn about RAG, then feel free to look that stream up on the schedule, and feel free to join and ask any questions that you might have. I will be explaining everything in super simple terms. I've also done previous streams about RAG, so you can also search more content on our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so moving on. I think this one is almost the last slide. We're almost missing one more. we're not going to be diving into these two comparisons right now, which is synchronous versus asynchronous coding. But it's nice for you if you can understand this, because it's definitely something that's gonna pop up when you're making benchmarking. Because let's say that we want to that we want to raise three models, we want to compare two models, and each one takes 5 seconds to answer. So if I were to have a synchronous code, then I will just basically call model number one, then wait 5 seconds, then call model number two, wait 5 seconds, and then do it again for model three. And if I were to write a synchronous code, then I will just fire a request for the three models simultaneously and make it 3 times faster, which is um, which is always better. And for the code that we're gonna be doing today, we're gonna be trying to see a bit on that. We're not gonna be diving too much, but it's nice if you could actually understand how it's working in there. For the code that we're gonna be writing today, we're not gonna be doing anything related to asynchronous code, but you can definitely you can know that actual benchmarks are done asynchronously, and you get to spawn like different threads and different processes, so the actual script doesn't become a bottleneck for your testing benchmarks. Um, and yeah. But yeah, and then we have some comments in here. Do we register for being here? Yes. I will send you again the check-in link. Let me go ahead and look that up for you and send it over on the chat. So make sure to check in so you can get your points. I already sent the link over here. You can look it up on the chat. I'm seeing another comment in here. I'm learning Flutter. I know about these functions. Oh, that's really nice. Actually, Flutter was one of the first frameworks that I started to learn about. The project that I submitted to join the AMLH Fellowship was about Flutter. It was an application to manage inventory, and I'm really proud to say that that was done before AI era. So I definitely miss the pre AI era. I would just say coding felt very different to what it is now. Because now if I just try to do it by myself, I know that I will take like twice the time or maybe 3 times the time, and maybe an AI will just do it 100 times better, and I just feel really bad about my work. So yeah, I just miss like being stuck on a problem like for so long that I had to maybe post it on Reddit or post it on Stack Overflow and wait for an answer, or try to find my actual error like on different blog posts. It was a whole adventure. Maybe a bit stressing, because right now if you get an error, you can just input it to an AI and you will get like an instantaneous response, which is also very impressive. But it's nice that that you are learning Flutter. I would say I'm a bit rusty on that. I dropped it like 2 years ago, but I definitely felt really comfortable using that tool. Okay, so let's move on from this. Let's see. Okay, so we are ready now to start building our project. But before we do the coding, we need to do a bit of setup. We need to fetch two API keys that are going to be completely free. There's no need for you to purchase anything, input your cards or whatever it's asking you. We're going to use free tools today. Then we're gonna set up Streamlit in Visual Studio Code, and then we're gonna start our dashboard in order to do our benchmarking. The code is gonna be super simple. We're just gonna write two functions to call each model. We're gonna measure time, and then we're gonna output both responses. We're gonna count the tokens, and we're gonna count the time as well. It's pretty straightforward. It's just gonna be a single script, and Streamlit is a really nice tool that I like to use for all of my recent projects. To be honest, that are related to AI and metrics, because it allows you to build like these really nice diagrams and figures and plots. It's like if I'm not sure how to compare it, but you will see for yourselves. I will show you the tool, and it's going to be really nice. There's a question again. Can you tell me maybe your reason why you dropped? Oh, it wasn't a particular reason about Flutter. I would just say my interests shifted. So I was not on the side of building apps or building websites. I started working a bit more on the backend side, in very specific things. And then there's this whole robotics side, which is super unrelated to app development. But it was definitely fun to use. I learned a lot about frameworks in there. To be honest, I don't know how to use any other framework. I don't know how to use React. I don't know how to use all of those. Um, so yeah, I would say that's a major declaration. Flutter was one of the biggest frameworks that I felt comfortable coding with. Other than that, that's the only one. Um, Streamlit is better than Gradio in my opinion. Yes, I completely agree, 100%. I, there was this hackathon project that I was building. It was for NASA space apps, and I was with my team, and we were deciding on which tool to use for the dashboard that we're going to be building. And there was, no one was familiarized, or no one wanted to learn about front end, and we didn't want to do like something really complex. And then I say, like, okay, we're always using Streamlit, let's try to find a different tool that we can use. So I search up about different tools that are similar to a Streamlit. I literally search up tools that are similar to Streamlit, and then Gradio popped up, and I started using it, and it was just very weird. I would say Gradio is mostly like a wannabe framework, and it's not very for family. It's not very user friendly, I would say. So I just got stressed with that one and dropped it, and then just went to my safe choice, which is Streamlit. Um, there's definitely a a harder learning curve on that one. Streamlit is much more easier to learn. All right, so let's start with the first thing. I'm gonna send you two links for you to start creating your accounts in order to get your API keys. So this is the first one. I'm sending you the exact same link for you to stop by exactly at the API keys. And then I'm gonna go to the other one, which is Grok. Let me see. Okay, then here is the second one. All right, so I'm gonna give you a 5 minute break, or also time for you to log in into those accounts, get your API keys, and then once we come back, if you generated an API key, then really nice. And if not, I'm gonna be just doing a super fast overview on how to obtain those API keys. But there shouldn't be an issue. I sent out a specific link for you to access the API keys. They are completely free, so there's no need for you to generate an account or anything. And yeah, I'll just be back in 5 minutes in order to do that overview and set up Streamlit in VS Code, and then do all of our project that we want to get done tonight. All right. All right, so I'm back. I'm not sure if those were exactly 5 minutes, but I think it is more than enough to continue with our stream today. So let me remove this banner from here. Okay, so where do we left? All right, so generating our Gemini API keys and then generating our Grok API keys. So for the Gemini one, let me share my screen super quick. It is this one. Okay. So for this one, I'm just gonna look for it is called AI Studio. There we go. And then in here, you just go directly to the Get API key in here. And then once you click in there, you will be seeing a dashboard like this. I'm just going to be using whatever API I have here. But you can just go ahead and click in here on Create API Key, give it a name, select a cloud project, create a project in case that you don't have one. Just click on create and then just copy paste it somewhere once we start using it. Again, this API key is completely free, so there's no need for you to pay anything. So just make sure that you generate one for the stream. And then for the other one, we're going to enter our second link, which is this one. And for Grok, it's going to be the same way. So just head over to API keys. I think you can do that. Over here, like where it literally says API keys. Create a new API key, give it a name, and then just make sure that you can generate that one. In this case, I generated this one that's called testing. I might generate a new one just for the stream. So yeah. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do our whole setup in VS Code for Streamlit. I'm just gonna look up super quickly the repository that we're gonna be using today. There's no need for you to clone that repository or anything. It's mostly just for you to view the code that I'm doing on screen, so you can go ahead and see it. It's this one over here called LLM benchmarking. So let me go ahead and click on there. I'm gonna share with you this link on the repository. Right now it's completely empty. There's nothing in there. There's only a README file, the license, and the git ignore. But I'm gonna be pushing the code in there once we have it. I'm also going to be posting the slides in here and a link to the YouTube recording that you can also access from our YouTube channel. This image is outdated. It's from last time. I'm going to be updating that one once I get some free time. And yeah, this is going to be our base. So then let me head over to VS Code. I'm actually going to open a new tab. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to clone these repositories so you can see all of the updated code. So I'm just going to copy this link to clone it. There's no need for you to do this. Again, this is only for you to see the code that I'm doing. You can create your own repository. I would actually motivate you to create your own repository so you can have your own project mostly. Okay, so let me share now the VS Code screen. Where are we? There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a bit smaller so I can see you on the other side. And there we go. All right, so again, if you have any questions, just feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm seeing the chat at the same time, which is actually surprising because I only have one screen. So just drop your question or comment over there. All right, so to clone my repository, I'm just gonna open a default folder. Let me name this Global Hack Week benchmarking. Oh my god. Global Hack Week benchmarking. Okay, select folder. That would open a new, yes, I trust the others. I'll make this a bit bigger. Okay. And I'm also gonna zoom in so you can, close this and zoom in so you can see everything. I'm seeing my VS Code in like 10 times bigger on my screen, but that's only for you to see it better. Okay, so then I'm gonna open up in here a new terminal. I'm just gonna do a git clone in there. And then I'm just gonna clone the repository. I actually like this new update from VS Code that you can see like sort of an autocomplete on the terminal. I would say that's really, really nice to see. But yeah, it's something cool just from the update. I'm just gonna CD onto the. Oh, I thought I was gonna do an autocomplete in there. It's a tab. There we go. Just gonna CD into our current directory. So now we're all set. Then the next thing that I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna create a virtual environment for this session. So let me just do Control Shift P, create environment, and BNB. I'm gonna select Python 3.11 just as a personal preference, and then just hit enter, and I'm gonna skip the package installation. Again, creating a virtual environment is just mostly to maintain all of my dependencies isolated for this project. You are free to create your virtual environment, or you are also free to skip this space if you want to install the dependencies on your global Python version. I'm just gonna take a second, and then what we're gonna do in the meantime, I'm gonna open up while it's creating the virtual environment, I'm gonna open up a new tab so I can share you a bit about Streamlit. So this one over here. Oh no, I think it lagged. Oh shoot. Yeah, my screen lagged for a second. I'm gonna have to close these and probably open it up again. Yeah. I will be back. I will have to force quit my browser and then log in, but please keep yourselves on the stream. It would only take like 1 minute for me to come back. Um, I just have like many things going on in my browser that it's actually going to explode. So yes. All right, so I'm back now. My bad. It just lagged really, really bad. We have a question in here. Is the tab working for VS Code latest version? Might be a malware on my end. Oh, to be honest, I don't. Oh wow, I wouldn't know myself. I just received like a pop up from VS Code saying that I needed to be updated, and then I just updated it, and now I get that. At least on my end, I don't think it's a malware, but not sure if on your end it is. I will be careful about that if I was you. Okay, so let me then share this new tab so we can do the Streamlit checkup. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna look up for Streamlit, and then I'm also gonna be sharing this one with you. Let me share this one in here. There we go. So you can try this one to be on the same page as I am right now. Streamlit is just basically a nice front-end tool that you can use for Python and visualization. You can take it as a like as a visualization tool for your applications and for your projects. We can go ahead and click on installation, and then option 1, I like the command line, and then you can just this is all for you activating your environment and whatever, and then you do the actual installation. So pip install Streamlit, and then this is only to test that Streamlit is working. And if this is not working, then you can try this one, the long form command as well. Okay, so for that, then let me hop into VS Code now. I'm just hoping it won't lag again. Okay, so you're seeing VS Code now. I will try to maintain myself on VS Code, and only if I really need to look up for something, then I will look it up, because then I just don't want to be switching and risking myself. But yeah, hopefully it's there. So now that we have our virtual environment created, I'm just going to spawn a new terminal so I can actually see it in here. There we go. So now I'm on my virtual environment, and we're going to start installing all of our dependencies. So the first one is, pip install Streamlit. It's the easiest one. So just pip install Streamlit, and then we will be getting Streamlit. Then the second one that we need to install, we need to install Grok. Then we also need to install the Gen AI model from Gemini. I actually don't know the PIP for that, so I'm going to look it up really fast. And then, well, it is installing that. And I'm going to search, and I'm going to send you the link exactly where I'm getting the PIP installed for Gemini, which is under API Quick Start. So you can find it in this link over here for the PIP install. I'm just going to be copy pasting it myself onto my VS Code. Once it starts streaming, I'm going to create a new terminal and install it in there. So pip install Google. Oh. There it is. Pip install Google Gen AI, and then the other one that we are going to be needing is Grok, and we're also going to be needing Pandas and Plotly as well. I'm all like, you only need to install Plotly, I believe. So yes. Oh, what's this? Cannot install packages due to OS error. Cannot access the file because it's being used by another process. Maybe this one, right? Okay, I think Streamlit is taking a while, huh? Let me see if it's installed correctly. Oh, nope. I'm gonna be going here, creating a new one. I'm gonna call my file home.py because it's basically gonna be our homepage. I'm just gonna do import Streamlit as st. And yeah, it's still not getting it. Not sure why it's taking really long. My inner thoughts are saying that I should shut down this command and then just do it again. Which extensions do I need to? Not relevant. Okay, let's shut this down. Huh. It installed itself. Okay, I will consider that as problem solved. So then now let's install the one for Google Gemini, which is this one. I send you the link so you can get the PIP installed from there. It's PIP install, and then -q -u Google Gen AI. It's also installing. Oh, I have 9% battery. It might be related to that. Let me plug it in. Okay, all set now. So in the meantime, while this is installing, I'm just gonna be importing all of our dependencies. So we're gonna be importing, no, we don't need LLMs. Google import Gen AI. From Google import Gen AI, there we go. Now let's also install Grok, which is just pap install Grok, like this. I'm just gonna be installing that. Let me make this a bit bigger and see if there's any questions. We're all set. We're also going to import time because we're going to be needing time in order to measure the time that it took to do a specific operation. We're going to import pandas as PD. And the last one that we need to install is Plotly. So pap install Plotly. And we're going to import that as well. Import plotly.express. That's correct. And I'll just wait for it to install itself. Just gonna wait. In the meantime, we're just gonna do a specific setup. Yeah, this might be correct. I'm just gonna shut down Copilot for some snooze it for 5 minutes. Yeah, that's cool. 25 minutes. Okay. So for Streamlit, it's very easy to do all of the operations. So we're just going to refer to Streamlit as ST. And then if you do the dot, then you can see all of the options that you get to use. The first thing that we're going to do is that we're just going to do the page configuration. So that's called set page config. And it has different parameters that you can pass. So you can pass on a page title, a page icon, and the layout, and some sidebar or menu items. In this case, I'm going to be inputting a page title, an icon as well, and also the layout. So we're just going to do this, and then we're going to do page title. And then my page title will be LLM benchmarking. Then we're going to be passing the layout. So layout, I'm going to be specifying wide layout in here. So it's large. You can also, this one is not mandatory. It's only if you want to, all of these configurations. And for the icon, I'm going to skip it because my, I don't know how to pop up the emojis in Windows because my Windows key is broken. So I have to fix that. So I'm just going to be leaving it like this. And then I'm going to set up a title. So st.title, and then we're just going to call it LLM benchmarking again. The title is actual markdown on the page. So this is actually going to show, and this is going to be on the upper side. I'm going to show you in a second how to look like. And then I'm also going to do st dot subheader, and I'm going to be compare as many LLMs as you want side by side. And then I'm just going to do is it a divider? Yep, divider. Okay, so only 3 lines of code, well, at least 4. So let's see how these looks like. So to run your actual code, you're going to do a Streamlit, then run, and then the name of the script that you want to run, which in my case is home. And wait, I need to cd into my directory, which is LLM benchmarking. There we go. And then now we're gonna run this. So a Streamlit run, and then the name of my file, which is home.py. There we go. Now it's actually running in there. Let me send you that command in there so you can run it as well. Run home.py. Okay, so now it's running, and it opened me up in the browser, but let me share my screen on that. Wow, this is too blurry. Let me share my screen, remove this one, and share the other one. Share screen. There we go. It's still taking a while to load everything up. We're just gonna wait. And there we go. So now we're seeing LLM benchmarking and compare as many LLMs as you want side by side. So this is my title, this is my subtitle. We also have a divider in there, and then we have our title in here on the upper side of the tab, which is called LLM benchmarking. Cool. So now the next thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna to start calling our methods, and we're going to be using the API keys for that. So we're going to initialize our two clients, which is Grok and Gemini one, and then we're going to input the API keys, and I never added these to the stage. There it is. So this is how it should look like if it's running correctly. Okay, so let me continue sharing my code. Please don't freeze. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So first thing that we want to do, we're going to initialize our first client. So this first client is going to be the one from Gen AI, which is the one from Gemini. So Gen AI dot client, it has all of our functions in there, and we're going to pass on the parameter that's called API key. I don't know this one yet. I'm going to be inputting in here just a second. I'm going to initialize the second one, which is the Grok client. Let's call it, Grok client. And this one, the nomenclature is a bit different. This one, you need to call Grok directly, like the object. And then after doing that, then you want to pass on the API key as well. So API, why is it not getting this one? Grok client, Grok. Wait, I never imported Grok. That's why. From Grok, import Grok. There we go. And now we can actually see this. Hopefully it's, oh, my bad. I wasn't adding this one. Yeah. My bad. Yeah. There it is. All right, so now you should be seeing it now. I would just describe the changes that I was doing. So I was doing the Grok client, and I realized that it was not showing me the correct color. So I realized that I had to import Grok. So now it's there because I forgot. So these are the dependencies that you'll be having. I will make a GitHub commit on this. I'm gonna call it base code, so you can see it on the repository in there. Now you should be able to see it as well on the GitHub in case that something like this happened again. Okay, and then inside Grok, I'm gonna pass on the API key as well. That I'm gonna leave this pending as well in here. Okay, so now we have our two clients, and then the second thing that we want to do is that we want to basically do our two methods, one for Gemini and then one for Grok. So we're going to start with our first function, which is the one called Gemini. And in here, we're just going to pass it a prompt, right? And then inside there, we're just going to do the defaults that about Gemini library. This one, I know how to do it, but maybe for Grok, I'll have to look it up to see how it actually works. Because to be honest, I haven't used Grok API very often, but we will figure things out as well. Before doing any code on the call Gemini, we want to start counting our time because it is the time that it will take to start processing everything. So we're going to start calculating our start time, and that's going to be time and then dot time. There we go. And then after doing that, then we're just going to do the defaults, right? So we're just going to get our response from Gemini, and I call these clients. So we're going to be referring the client. Then we're going to do dot, and then we're going to access models. Then we're going to do dot again, and we're going to generate content. We're going to open some brackets, and then inside there, there's different things that you can input in there. So you can input the model parameter, and you can also select the different things. In this case, I won't be using this one. I will be using 2.5 Flash one. I believe that one's free, so you are all able to access that one. So inside here, I'm gonna select the model, and the model that I'm gonna be using is Gemini. I think it's 2.5 Flash. If I get errors, then we're just gonna look them up. We're gonna do that one. What else do we need to do? So we have the model and the content as well. So you are free to select any model that you want. To be honest, the benchmark that we're going to be doing against Grok, I wouldn't say it's going to be super balanced. So there's going to be a lot of unbalance in there, but that just depends on the model that you're using. In my case, I'm going to be using this one, which is the Gemini one. Okay, and then the next thing that we're going to do is generate the actual content, right? So this is going to be another variable. We're going to call our completion dot choices. Wait, this one actually goes inside. My bad. There we go. Contents, and then we're going to do completions dot choices. And then we're going to access the first one. And dot. Why am I not seeing the dots? Let me do this over here. That's better. Dot. Completion, maybe? I'm actually gonna go and look up the documentation because I think I'm messing up this. Let me stop sharing my screen and share the one from Gemini. Share screen. Where is it? Here we go. Let's see. So we have, let me add this to stage. So it's clients. No, I don't like this one. I'm gonna go to pass your API key, which is this one. It's client models generate content model, and then the actual content, which is mostly the prompt right in here. And then we're just gonna print the response.txt in this case. Okay, so it's just passing the prompt and then just printing the text over here. And for counting tokens, I know there's a metadata attribute in here. Let's just look it up. Metadata. I think we can see the total tokens from there. Wow, this is too bright. Okay, let's move on to the code now that we know that it's only calling up the prompt in there. Where is stop screen, share screen? Oh, and we also have some questions. Give me a moment. Oh my God, it started to freeze again. Okay, so back now. I think the questions that were on the chat, they got lost. So if you had a question, please send it back again. Because I'm only able to see the ones that were from YouTube. I I will now only share VS Code because I'm realizing that switching back and forth is making my computer lag like really much. So I'm just gonna be sharing the VS Code, and then once we are almost done, then I'm gonna share my browser so we can see the output on Streamlit. But feel free, I will be refreshing my GitHub history so you can also have the code and you can try it and see the output on yourself. And then we have this question. Is time the only important factor for benchmarks? No, there's also different factors that you can also test, like the ones that we commented. For LLMs, I would say the most important ones, yes, is time, which defines itself as latency. Then we also have true output. Then we also have the one about proficiency, that you can apply different types of tests, like these university tests or like math tests that you can apply to see how good and how smart your AI is. And the other one was I don't remember which one was the other important benchmark. Oh yes, the cost for the tokens, which we are also going to be calculating today as well. But we're going to start with the one on time because it relates to starting every time that you start a different method. All right, so now that we're here, let me make this smaller. We're just gonna be passing the prompt in here. All right, so now we have our start time that we are just gonna be calculating the time. And now once we do this response, we wanna make sure that we calculate our end time, we're just gonna set time again. The only difference is that we are getting the time at different points of our script in here. And then another important thing to keep in mind for Gemini, we're gonna check if we can read the tokens to calculate the price. Well, the amount of tokens just from the metadata that we get from the response. And if not, we're gonna use the rule where you have to divide by 4 the characters in order to calculate these tokens. So to do that, we're just gonna do if response dot usage metadata. Then we're gonna do our token count, right? So we're gonna do token count, and then this is the first one. So if we actually get that information from our current usage metadata, which is this one dot, I think it's called total. Where is it? Total token count. Response usage metadata total. I don't know if this one. I think total token count. There's a prompt token count, prompt tokens detail. Yeah, I think the total token count is the one that should give us the best response. So I'm just gonna go for that one. That should give us our token count, but in case that Gemini is not able to find that on our metadata, then we're just going to do the regular calculation, which will be with the division, right? So we're just going to do total token count, and then we're going to have the length of our response. So response.text, and then we're just going to divide this, right? Oops, my bad, responsive text. Right, and now in here we have 2 metrics. We have our time, we have our token count, and then we also want to return our actual answer. So our return in here, we will be returning several things. So the first thing that we're going to be returning is the actual response from the AI. Then the second thing that we're going to be returning is the time. So to measure the final time, it's going to be end minus start time. So we get the final time. And then the last thing that we're going to be returning is our token count. All right, so this one is for the Gemini one. And then for the Grok, we're just going to do exactly the same, but just with the Grok architecture for APIs. Let me push this, finished Gemini function, so you can also have the code in there. We have a question in here. Why length by 4? Any specific reason for it? Yes, so this is actually, I mentioned it really briefly when we were seeing, let me look it up for you. When we were accessing this tokenizer tool, the OpenAI tokenizer, In there, they declare a metric that says that if you divide every fourth character, then you can do a rough estimate of your tokens. It will not work for every word, and it is only for English. But it is something that you can use as reference in case that your LLM is not giving you the token count. That's why I added that as an else statement on our if else. Okay, so I already I pushed that to GitHub so you can see this function. Then we're gonna head over to the one for Grok. In this case, I'm gonna be using a Llama model access to Grok because it's also free to use. We're gonna make sure that you generated your API keys because we're gonna be wanting to input those in here. I'm not gonna input those right now because I mostly want to get the code done, and then we're gonna focus on that. So we're gonna create our second method. Okay, we have 30 minutes, so we can definitely make it. We're gonna call this one called a llama. It's gonna follow the same structure. So I'm gonna be receiving a prompt. I'm gonna be calculating our start time as well. So time.time. Then in here, I'm gonna call this. We're gonna call it. No, we need to call it response grok. So response grok, and then I'm gonna be needing to look up at the documentation. I already shared the link with you. I'm not gonna be sharing that screen, but I'm gonna be looking at the grok documentation to know how to make that API call. And I'm gonna be writing that code. Well, copy pasting that code from the generation, so you can also have it. So it's pretty similar. So you call the client, and then you do the completions, and then you call that one. Let me start typing that for you. This one, this code, I'm actually getting it from the actual documentation, just for you to know. I don't know this by memory because I never use Grok, to be honest. So just for you to know where I'm getting this information for. Let me send you the documentation where I'm getting the actual code. There it is. Okay. So this is very similar. We're going to call our Grok client. That is almost a base for everything. We want to use the chat one, and then we're going to be inputting the completions in here. And we're going to use the create one, which is the first. And similar to the Gemini one, there's different things that you can do in here, like the models. And it actually tells you the different models that you can use. We're going to do model equals, and then we're just going to input the model that we're going to be using. In this case, VS Code is super nice, and it's also telling me like the different models that I can use in here. In my case, I'm going to be using this one, a 3.5 8 billion parameter instant, which has to be really fast. So I'm just going to click on that, and I already get my auto complete in here from this section. And then the second thing that we need to declare is the actual content that we're going to be passing, right? So let's do content. Wait, this one's not getting it. I think we only need to pass this one. Oh, I didn't close this one. Oh, it's very picky. There it is. Interesting. So if I do this, let me search in the documentation how this is done because I have no clue. So they are passing API key, response client, response create, output text, and then just a model. I think it's called input in there. I think it's the one that they are using for that one. Let me check. They call it messages, to be honest. This is something that very similar to the structure that OpenAI uses, which is the messages, and then they do these weird braces thingy where they define like the role and then the user that they're going to give. Honestly, I prefer the Gemini one. It's more friendly to use. This is too large. User, and then they have the actual content that they're gonna be passing. So wait, this has to be inside here. Content. And then here is where I input the prompt. If you see, every API is different to access. So this is the way of Grok. You can find these on the link that I shared. This is where I'm actually getting this one. You can also set up the temperature for the model. The temperature is how much imagination your model is going to have. In my case, I'm just going to set up a default temperature on 0.5, let's say. There it is. So as you can see, this one is a bit more of writing that we need to do. And for Gemini, it's just passing the model and passing our prompt. Super simple, right? That's why I know this by memory. But this one is harder to learn, especially if I never use this. All right, and after calling that one, then we want to do the same. So we want to do our end time as well. So end is equal to time. And then we also want to do we want to get the actual content, which will be the response from our API. So we're going to do content equals to completion. No, this one's I call it response grok dot choices, and then we access the first one, which has our message, and this one should be message message. There it is. Okay, that should get our response done. And then the second thing that we want to do, we want to do the token count, right? So we want to do token count, and this one actually has a native choice in order to do should have a usage dot, oh, it's completing now. So total tokens and return content. Yeah, that's correct. And start and token count. Okay, looks good. So I'm going to post this. Finish llama function for Grok. So you can also see on the GitHub repo as well. Let me see if there's any questions. Nope, we're all good. Okay, and then the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna design a bit more. Now that we have our two methods to call them, we're gonna design a bit more our interface. So this is not gonna work for us. So we're going to use our sidebar so we can select the different models that we want to use depending on how many models we want to add to our benchmark. And then we're just going to add all of our metrics for the output and one final graph to show everything. So to do this, we're going to use the sidebar. So st.sidebar, right, on Streamlit. And then inside my sidebar, which it's going to be located on the left, we're going to have a title. So I'm going to place in here st title, and then I'm going to do choose models, because in there we should be able to choose the model that we want. So in case that we're using Gemini, we're going to be doing a checkbox. So a streamlit.checkbox, and then we're just going to input the name of the model, which is Gemini. This is the actual text that goes in the checkbox. 2.5 flash. I hate how this appears, because then 2.5 flash. There we go. And we're gonna select our default value on the checkbox is gonna be true, because I want all of my models to be selected once I load the page up. And then the user can just feel free to unselect that checkbox. I'm gonna copy paste this because I'm gonna do the same thing for Grok. I'm just gonna change my variable in here, Grok, and I'm gonna change these to the model that I'm using, which is Llama. I'm just gonna call it Llama 3.1. There's no need to do all in here. So Llama 3.1. There we go. So we have our two checkboxes on our sidebar. And then outside the sidebar, we're gonna do a chat interface for the user to input a prompt and then get the benchmark metrics. So to do that, I'm gonna create a variable called prompt, and then I'm gonna do that at chat input. So st.chat input. This is a nice thing that Streamlit has, that you can just start creating widgets and it's super easy. So I'm just calling it chat input, and then I can just type in here like enter your prompt. And it's going to be generating this super nice dashboard with our prompt in there. Then we have a question here. What are widgets? So widgets is mostly a word that you use for components. For the hacker that mentioned about Flutter, they manage everything in widgets, and then widgets can have different characteristics and different configurations that you can use. But you can also call them components. It's mostly, you can call chat interface a widget. You can call, how do you call this? Image carousel a widget, or like a text interface. You can also call that a widget. So it's like different components that are more complex. You can call them widgets, and it's like the widgets that you have on your phone as well. Yeah, widgets and arguments. That's for Flutter, if I'm not mistaken. That was a long time ago. So sidebar is also a widget. Yep, you are completely correct, because we are calling the sidebar over here in the code. If you're seeing over here, st sidebar, st title. So everything that has st and then the dot and then the name, that's mostly the widget that we're going to be using. All right, so now for the prompt, we're going to be doing like an if case. So we make sure that we get information on our prompt. So if we input a prompt, we want to be checking different things. So I'm going to create just an array for the comparisons. I'm going to call it comparisons. It's going to be empty for now. Oh, this was so lame. To the equal comparisons. It's going to be empty for now. So if the user wants to use Gemini, which is a Gemini, we're going to add that one into our comparisons array, right? So we're going to do comparisons dot append, and we're going to add our Gemini 2.5 flash, right? 2.5 flash. There we go. And then if the user want to use Olama, I'm just going to use if use Grok. Wait, let me rename this. Grok with lowercase. There it is. I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to append the Llama 3.1. So it's just going to be 3.1. There we go. Awesome. So now we're going to be adding those into our code. What else do we need to check? So this is going to be, I don't want to get you a bit confused on how I'm going to be organizing like the different columns that we're going to be having. For now, I'm just going to be adding the titles that we're going to be showing. So we can see like Gemini on one side and then Llama on the other side that we're going to be using. So for that, we're going to be using this attribute that's called columns. Well, the widget that's called columns. So depending how many columns I want, so I'm going to do columns, is how many comparisons I have, right? So in this case, I only have 2 models. So there's only going to be 2 columns, right? But in case that I have more models, then I'm going to be making like more columns in there. And then we also have a question here saying what does if prompt do? So that if the thing that it's doing is checking that there is content on the prompt. Because again, prompt is the stuff that the user is going to be typing on our chat input. So if there is information on the prompt, then that means that we can calculate the different rows that we're going to be, the different columns where we're going to be splitting our information. I'm just going to finish this section and then I'm going to run it so you can see the output. The thing is that I don't want to be swapping too much from screens so it doesn't lag and I have to disconnect again. So I'm just doing my best. Then we're going to have the length of our arrays so we can have the columns according to how many comparisons we're going to be making. And then we're also going to create one for the results because we're going to use that one later. Okay, so inside in here as well, we're going to do we're gonna do a for loop, and we're gonna iterate over the different comparisons that we are having. So comparison name, it can be Gemini or it can be Llama. That's why I'm using for each comparison name that we have. And we want to enumerate our comparisons in here. So this one's gonna be, why is it looking so weird? Am I typing this incorrectly? Oh, there it is. I was typing that incorrectly. Oh, that's weird. Okay, and then inside the loop, I'm going to be using the columns that I'm having. So in this case, for each column that I have, I'm going to be showing different stuff. I'm going to do a subheader inside here. And that subheader, it's going to say the name of the comparison that I'm currently at. So to do that, I'm going to do comparison name. And this comparison name is going to be either Gemini 2.5 Flash or Llama 3.5. All right, so that should generate a subheader for each column to show one on one side. Then I'm going to do, I'm going to skip this part. I wanted to do like the loading thing. So when it's thinking, it shows like a loading icon, but I'm just going to skip it because maybe it might be a bit more confusing and I will take more time and I only have like 10 minutes left. So I'm just going to be more quick on this. If comparison name equals, and then we want to have the exact same name that we have in here, right? So Gemini 2.5 Flash. This is equal to Gemini 2.5 Flash. Then what we're going to do, we're going to call that method that we just created. So we're going to be passing our content, we're going to be passing our latency, and we're going to be receiving tokens as well, right? And all of that, we need to call Gemini, because the call Gemini function, it returns three things. If we remember, it returns our response from the prompt, it returns the time, which is a latency, and it returns the number of tokens that we have. So we're going to call Gemini, and what we're going to pass in here is the prompt, which we stored in a variable over here, right, from the chat input. So this is going to be prompt in here. And just like that, we will get the information when we want it. And if the name is not Gemini 2.5 Flash, then it has to be Grok, right? So we're going to do the same. We're going to do this same calling. The only difference is that instead of calling Gemini, we're going to be calling Llama in here. And we're going to be passing the exact same prompt that we have in there. Let me commit this so you can also have it. Section of code. There we go. You should be able to see it in there. And then the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to be passing, we're going to be adding a caption into each of our columns so we can see the latency and we can also see the tokens. So st.caption, I'm going to take that recommendation, latency and then seconds, and then the tokens that we're getting. Latency, again, we're getting it from here, and tokens, we're also getting it from here, which is from the corresponding call Gemini and call Llama. The only difference is that we're going to be having it like side by side. Hey, can you just give an overview of things? I lost track of things. Yeah, for sure. I can do that super quickly. So we created two functions, call Llama to call Grok and call Gemini to call Gemini. Inside these functions, we are counting the time in here, and we are counting the tokens that we are using, right? And we are returning the response from the LLM, the time that it took to generate that response, and our token count. And we are doing exactly the same for Grok in here. Then we are creating a sidebar. We are dividing in two columns in here, and we are fetching that information from the call Gemini, inputting the prompt from the user, which will be inputted in here. Let me see. Let's just finish this section of code, and I'm going to show you how it looks like. I just committed on my GitHub repo, so you can see the whole code in order to see it. Right now, I should see in a caption the information in here. And then we're gonna do write and content. That's correct, because the content is the information from my LLM in here. I'm gonna be using the completions from Copilot so we can finish faster. But that's not what I was looking for. So if we don't get information from the latency, this is not correct. Latency is equal to 0. Results that happen model. I was just checking if this is what we want. Yep, this is what we want. Why do we want to append these into results? Because we're gonna be graphing that. We're gonna be creating a graph, so we want to have all of the information so we can plot our axis in there, right? So I'm gonna go outside that loop, but still inside our for. So if we have results, we have a question here. Oh, it's just a reminder. Yep. Thank you for answering. So we're gonna be this is too complex. The data frame, benchmark results, throughput. Why not? Let's just take that, and with that we will be done. That will be all of our code. This is for the graph. I used Copilot for this, so I just don't spend a lot of time writing that, and I can show you how it looks like, and we can also get time to deploy this. Finish code. Right now, I just published the last version of code. Just don't forget to input your API keys in there. I'm going to show you how to do the secrets thing for you to store the API keys in a safe way before deploying it. So just pay close attention to this. I'm going to be creating a new folder. This folder is going to be called .streamlit. It has to be called that way because it's part of the Streamlit architecture. So .streamlit. And then the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to create a file called secrets.toml, which is a specific file type for secrets. And then in here, I'm just going to call like my Gemini API key. This is like a BNB, and then we're going to do the same for Grok API key. And we're just going to be inputting them over there. So I'm going to fetch those. Just give me a moment for me to fetch them. Let me generate a new key. In the meantime, start creating that file and that folder and start pasting your API keys in there. I don't mind that you're watching my API keys because I'm just going to revoke them after the stream, so it's okay. I already pasted my Grok API key. Now I'm going to look up for the Gemini one. Okay, so I have the Gemini one now, and please do the same. Again, this is just like having your .env file. The only difference is that in Streamlit, you need to store them in a folder called .streamlit and then in a file called secrets.tom. And then you just do the same that you would do in a .env file. I'm going to add these into the git ignore so I don't post this on the GitHub repository. Let's see. I think I need to access LLM benchmarking. Yeah, that's correct. Let's see. And it should appear like a bit gray, which means that it successfully was in the git ignore. Not sure why it's not picking it up. Streamlit. That's weird, right? Well, I will see that in a second. In the meantime, in here, to access our secrets, we're gonna do these, right? So you want to do st dot and then secrets, and then just pass it on just as Copilot is giving it to me right now, and then the same one for the Grok one, right? So st secrets, and then we're calling the key that we have on our toml file. Okay, so we are good into testing these. Let me then share my other screen. We have a question in here. Throughput or output? It's called true output. Like the whole world, like true output. It's complete. Let me remove this one. Stop sharing my screen and where is it? Okay, so it is over here, our app. Let me just refresh this one. It's loading. Let's see what it does. Okay, so we have our two models in here where we can select like the different ones, and then we have our prompt thingy over here. So I'm just gonna type a prompt. So I'm gonna ask, what is MongoDB? Hit enter. Then it's gonna start to generate my two columns and the two answers, and then it's gonna generate the output with the nice graph and the values that we're getting in there. Okay. Oh my God, this is. Let me make the screen a bit bigger. Okay, this was too much text. I'm seeing that the llama one didn't work, right? Because we only got the one from. Oh no, it actually worked. Let's see. So we have the latency for Gemini, which was 9.11 seconds, and we generated about 1,000 tokens. We see the complete response in here. This is just a response of me asking what is MongoDB. And then this is for the Grok one. I don't know why it's shown in JSON format. Maybe I made a mistake in the code. But for Grok, it was way faster. So 2.75 seconds and only 850 tokens. And then for the benchmark results, we get that Gemini 2.5 Flash, 9.10 seconds with this amount of tokens. And this is the tokens that it can spit per second, right? And for llama, its latency is less, so it's faster. We get less tokens, but you get it spits more tokens per second. And then we can compare the different true output. Oh yeah, this was wrong. Oh, that was this hacker asking this question, right? If it is throughput or true output. As for my knowledge, it's true output. But maybe it's also called throughput. Not sure. Maybe my professor taught me that wrong. I don't know, to be honest. And we have Gemini in here. You have a nice graph, and we know that Llama is faster, right? It has more tokens per second, and you can see the different comparison in there. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. You were able to do your own benchmark in here. Again, all of the code is posted on the GitHub. We have a question here. Can you please tell me the difference again? Latency versus true output. Yeah, so latency is basically how fast it is. And let me bring that slides up so you can actually see. We already stopped the coding section, by the way. It's going to be in there. The code is going to be on the GitHub. I'm going to be sending that as well. Just give me a moment while I share the final things in here. Yeah, so throughput, you can see it as how fast it is typing, and then latency is the time, right? So in this case, the latency, we're measuring that in seconds, if you see on the dashboard, and the throughput, we're measuring about how many tokens it can spit per second. So it's different. We have another question. Hey, Jose, can you recommend any more resources for more benchmarking techniques? There's plenty of them, I would say. Let me share one that I was using. Let me look that up. It's from Geeks from Geeks. I actually learned a lot about benchmarking studying for this MongoDB interview. I don't think I'm gonna be making it to the next round, but still, uh, let's see how that goes. Maybe this one's not very well. Oh, I found the one that I was looking for. Okay, so I'm just gonna send you a thread of the articles in Geeks for Geeks, but there's definitely more. So if you search Geeks for Geeks benchmarking or benchmarking LLMs, Geeks for Geeks, you should be able to have really nice blogs that you can read. I usually like that page to study for about CS things or just to learn in general. Then we have another question. Where is the GitHub? Yes, let me search that again for you. So we're gonna go into the GitHub repositories, and then it's gonna be in here, LLM benchmarking, and let me share that link again with you all. If you're seeing in here, I already have the home.py code where you can see the code that I was generating. Just don't forget to input your API keys. I'm gonna be doing the other commit once I do the git ignore thing, so you can also do it. But just input your API keys if you just want to test it locally. That is the repository that you can use. Then there's another question in here. It was a great session. I will try to compare 3 or 4 models. That is excellent. If you do so, you can do a pull request on my repository, and I can merge it to my repository so you can have an open source contribution on my code. Yeah. So if you want to contribute to the project, like add stuff or make different model comparisons or add more metrics as you wish, you can do a pull request and I can approve that, so you can merge it into main and then have open source contributions in GitHub. Can you pin the repository link? I just sent it already. Hopefully that works. It's this one. That's gonna be helpful. And yeah, I guess there's not any more questions, and I'm just gonna be moving to our final slide in here. Okay, so thanks again for joining. If you like this session, or if you want to improve anything, or if you have any feedback or comments or anything that you just want to tell to the MLH team, please make sure to fill out this post-event survey for Global Hack Week feedback. I'm going to be sending that link in here. It's very helpful for us to receive these types of feedback because it helps us improve in general. So yeah, that will be all from me. Hopefully you like the images that I generated using Nano Banana from Gemini. We have a nice 8-pixel bee and a flower as well. It's really nice. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I will be giving a Figma stream, I believe so, which is a partner stream. And then I will be having the RAG stream as well tomorrow. So you'll be hearing plenty from me this Global Hack Week. You'll be seeing me a lot. And yeah, feel free to tune in. I will be disconnecting now. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out or ping me on the Discord. I will be online as well. Thank you, everyone. See you.